Good afternoon. I thought we'd take a quick jaunt. I don't know why anybody, by the way, would want to leave Key West. I don't know. I don't know. It must be the most depressing departures at Key West have to be the most depressing place in the entire country. I mean, or Key West, or it just who wants to leave this place? It's beautiful. Um, anyway, with that in mind, I'm taking a bunch of depressed people um, back to the states, back to Florida. So we're on our way back to Florida. Um, it's not. I wouldn't say it's beautiful here today. A lot of it looks swampy, doesn't it? And some of the areas around the airport. Um, but we're going to take a trip back today. So with that, we're in our 737, flying this for Allegiant Airlines. Um, so we'll go ahead and start our battery, closed our battery guard, battery powers up, nav is up. We're going to go down here, put on the left aft, fuel. I don't even know if I have to do that, by the way. I probably don't. Disclaimer, not a real pilot, not a real airline pilot. I am very much an enthusiast who spends time on XPlane 12 and the Zibo 737. And I've learned some of the other planes, but this is one of my favorites here. Who's that talking? By the way, is that on? Is that us? Let's go back and let me check some of the plugins. The plugins, by the way, that I usually use. X Checklist. I'm not using it extensively today because it takes time. Of course, it does. It makes it safe. Um, but I'm just going to try to talk you through what I'm doing from time to time. What you're hearing right now is coming from chatter, from ATC chatter, XATC chatter. I really don't need that. We're about to bring up say intentions, so I don't think I really want to use that. Um, let's go ahead and get up. I'm pulling up say intentions now. We're not using a VATSIM. We're just going to be a say intentions group. We're using the Navigraph. Where I have XP Enhance maps for the skies. Or no, it's not for that. That's not for the skies. It's for the terrain, and we use uh, active sky for the cloud formations, and so all that adds up to a nice, realistic, really great looking um, simulator. It's just it makes it look awesome. Um, I'm not saying anything about some of the other tools. I mean, I understand auto ortho. Some people live and die by it. It's just not what I use. I like what I have. Uh, Call sign, by the way, is Allegiant 1060 today. I've just brought up the Say Intentions console, this piece here, and I'm going to show you something. For a while, when I hit Pilot, it wouldn't immediately go over to Copilot. It's supposed to be able to change, but our Copilot's name is Brian. It was just a lot easier for me to just have him on my intercom system and tell him to take control of the comms. Brian, would you be in charge of all comms, please?
I'll take over the comms from here, Steve.
Hey man, he's so good for that. Um, and Brian, would you please get our IFR clearance?
I'll get our IFR clearance now.
Key West Ground, Allegiant 1060. We'd like to receive our IFR clearance. We have Tango. I'll grab that clearance.
I thought I'd let you see the screen. If you're not a say intentions person, I think they've got a way you can try it.
1060 Key West ground,
Try
cleared
it.
to St. Pete via the Buffed 1 departure, then as filed, climb and maintain 3000, expect flight level 28010 minutes after departure, departure on 124.025, squawk 3476, expect runway 27.
Key West ground, Allegiant 1060, cleared to St. Pete via Buff T1, then as filed. Climb and maintain 3000. Expect flight level 280 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 124.025, squawk 3476. Anticipate runway 27.
Okay. We're also going to use our flight attendant today. Her name.
Captain Good, boarding has commenced.
Her name is
First
Lisa.
Passengers are now on board.
Hey Lisa, how's Chicago?
Gentlemen, welcome aboard Allegiant Air Flight 1060.
I'm interrupting her. Sorry, hon.
We are delighted to have you with us today as we make our way to beautiful St. Petersburg.
Let's get the buses. This is the APU buses.
Ensure that your hand luggage is safely stowed in the overhead bins.
Make sure the APU bleed is on.
If you need any assistance,
And
don't hesitate to reach out to one of our friendly crew members. We're here to
1 and 2
help. Thank you for choosing Allegiant.
hydraulics is up. And anti-collision is on. And position strobe is steady. Earlier you heard him giving our squawk code of 3476, and I'm going to put this on transmit and receive. That's TCAS. Also that activates TCAS. TCAS is the collision, mid-air collision sensor, or the feature that's on the planes. You've heard a lot about it in the news lately. Okay. We're going to go to init ref, get our IRS position set. That way this pops up with colors. Colors is good. And for our route, this is the Zibo 737. I love this about it, but it can spoil you because I go to some of the other aircraft like the CRJs, and I have to put every last piece of my information. I know there's another way to do it, but I like making sure the waypoints are in there step by step. So anyway, I'm requesting my flight plan here, which I've already set up in SimBrief. Since I fly for Allegiant Virtual Airlines, they have a system in place where this information is that the SimBrief is created through my account, but it's created. So I have my SimBrief, right? So I've loaded our flight plan. Let's check our legs to make sure we don't have any discontinuities or anything that needs to come off. And we're going to start out. So we're going to be leaving out at SCAR on heading of 341. Remember that when the time comes, unless they tell us we're going to be going directly somewhere. Let's go over to our panel here. Fuel weight and balance, airside services, and let's get everybody loaded. Activate. And let the magic fuel truck come. You know what I'm talking about. And Austin's vegan food is awaiting a chance to put his delightful delicacies. I'm not a vegan, just for the record. I'm not.
TBM, November 24 Mike Yankee, Key West ground. Give me 1 second for that clearance.
Clear to Ocala. After departure, fly radar vectors to Kearney, and then as filed. Departure, runway 09er. Initial climb to flight level 180. Departure on 124.025. Squawk 445.
I noticed that my loaders, the loaders already finished, or have they not been set up yet? you want to fancy this up a little bit, I'll show you another plugin that I have that I like. It's ground handling, and yeah, I think you can find this on the forum, on the XPlane forum. So on ground handling, I can just simply say drive up all. I have everything set up. Let's bring in the cavalry. How's that? So this is, it's called ground, I think it's simply called ground handling. I really like it. See, it's got a little bit of everything. You even have an ambulance over here. I hope we don't need it, but it's there. Also, you see how you have literally you have cargo that's being loaded. Wow, people. You brought your whole house on this trip. You better not imbalance my plane. Wow. So anyway, that's ground handling. And I like it because it actually, you see how functional it is as everything's being loaded. On the other side, we have the bus. I don't know. We've got a All right, let's go inside. And passengers, this is on the Zibo for passenger boarding. Here, you've got to do the no smoking side, off and back to auto. Or 0, by the way, is our basically landing altitude here. We're going to be flying at 28,000 today. And let's go ahead and put yaw damper on. Our passengers load. They load fast. I have it set for the realism part. I have it set for quicker. Okay. For now, we go back to init ref. We're going to put 1,000 for the reserves. We're going to hit load, execute, and one limit, take off. Flaps 15 for this particular round.
Complete. Flight attendants prepare the cabins. Verify arm door standby for all call.
And we're going to load those the V1, V2, and VR. Everything's good. So that's 146. We're going to go to our panel here. We're going to go ahead and activate our flight directors. I'm going to go ahead and push up the auto throttle, and we're going to turn these dials, the course dials, to 270 to align with the runway. I don't think you have to do what I'm doing right now, but I do it. Could make it just conscious awareness, aware of your surroundings. Okay. We want to put in our I'm going to go ahead and put in our altitude 28,000, even though we could get notified about our step climb, but usually we're notified to keep climbing. If I have to ever come in and take it down, I don't mind, but we're going to put 28,000 in here.
Cherokee 315, X-ray Papa, hold position, traffic crossing ahead. Holding position, Cherokee 315, X-ray Papa.
For our
Possible to pick up flight following for
VR, or for our rotate, our V. We're going to put in V2 setting 146 right here.
124.025, squawk 2565, Cessna 725 Sierra Tango.
Okay, so we have everything loaded up here on the MCP. Everything's set. For our anti-skid, we're putting it on RTO for reject takeoff setting for takeoff. And we also, I always put the second one over here on progress because it gives you, see, we're only to KPIE, we're only 230 miles from there now, so it's not a long flight. And our flaps, I'm going to go ahead and set our flaps for takeoff, which is 15. There we go. We don't have to worry about, normally what I would do is make sure that my nav settings, frequencies, aren't set to the runway of where I am, so there won't be any confusion. What you would do in that case is you simply go down here and put some anomalous reference, and then just put a number that pops in your head, just about 110, 10, whatever. But just put something else in there. That way you don't have to be concerned that it's the same as the runway that you're taking off on, and it may take some of your heartache away. Okay. I want to check our lighting here right now, our cabin lighting, and make sure that it's set to takeoff landing and white bright. And that's where that will stay. There's at the last thing we do before we hit our takeoff, our toga, is we hit ET here to make sure that our clock starts so we can keep up with our time in flight. And we don't need a push and start on this here. Technically, I don't know if you need a start on this particular runway. We'll ask. Brian, even we don't need a push, but do we need to get a start clearance?
No need for a start clearance here, Steve. We can start engines without it.
Okay. And if I need to, I can load a mentor and say intentions if I ever have like a question that really I need to double check something technical. Okay. So I just hit engine ground, the button, or I'm watching for 25. It took me a while just doing it on my own to understand about hot starts and about how it happens and why it happens. And after a lot of reading, I realized you have to insert fuel at a specific time to avoid all those issues. So that's why you keep as a reference point 25. Okay. Engine 1. Let's go take a look at it. Now something that I did not do the correct way, okay, sorry, is I should have cleared all the ground crew beforehand. So what I'm going to do on my ground handling is go over here and have them all drive away. And I'm not going to start another engine until they're gone for safety. Got me some extra food. Got vegan food, and then I got real food. You know my favorite thing I ever got on an airplane flight? I was flying from Miami to Comayagua in Honduras, and they had this pasta salad dish, and I don't know why I ordered it. I think they may have been out of everything else, and I was actually sitting in business class. That pasta dish was the best food I've ever put in my mouth, and I've never been able to duplicate it. So, of all the places to find that on an airplane in business class. Okay, let's get that second engine started. Lisa, what's on the menu today? What kind of food are we going to take?
Hello, Captain Good. Today we'll be serving a selection of snacks and beverages. We've got some light bites like pretzels and cookies, along with a variety of soft drinks, coffee, and tea. No tacos on board today, unfortunately. Let me know if there's anything else you need.
Well, I need tacos, but it doesn't look like you can help with that.
I hear you, Captain Good. Tacos would be amazing right now, but unfortunately, we're sticking to the usual snacks and drinks today. If there's anything else you need, just let me know.
Honestly, we're only going to be in the air for less than an hour. You're going to see that on the timer. So that'd probably be a waste of time. And I'm running through some of the checklist items here. I'm not going to make you have to listen to everything I'm doing here. All right, we got our engine started. Brian, can you get our taxi clearance?
I'll get our taxi clearance now.
Allegiant 1060, we're ready to taxi and we have Tango.
Allegiant 1060, taxi to runway 27 via Bravo 9 Alpha, Alpha 4.
Runway 27 via Bravo 9 Alpha, Alpha 4. Allegiant 1060.
And before we hit the road, and by the way, I'm getting a fuel message there because I've not activated my other switches. We're not even using the center tank for this. We need our altimeter. 2992. That's easy. So our altimeter setting's 2992. Just so happens that's the default setting you'll always see on your altimeter. So woohoo! That's one thing the plane has done for us without us having to put our hands on it. That's awesome. Thank you. Okay. Let's get all our settings. Both engines running. Engine bus 2 active, engine bus 1 active, APU off, APU bleed off, at PAX auto, acceleration valve auto, wheel light on, wing light on, logo light on, taxi light on, runway lights, and landing lights on.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Check on our settings. Engines to continuous. Seat belts on. Smoking on. And ring the doorbell. Not sure why that bus is there. Why are you in our path?
Cessna 908, Charlie Echo taxi to runway 21 via taxiway Delta and Echo. Taxi to runway 21 via Delta and Echo Cessna 908, Charlie Echo. Vision Jet 2 Alpha Golf, cleared to Ocean Reef Club.
I know that didn't look very real, but
Departure on 124.025 squawk 6424.
Reback's already been completed. Vision Jet 52 Alpha Golf requesting engine start.
we're going to make in a sharp right turn here, like a zero, kind of a zero turn. Very slow, deliberate, because we don't want to run into the cargo holders. We're coming in on runway 18 into Petersburg, which I'm glad, because 18 means we don't have to do a turn. Oh crud! I'm sorry. I forgot I said that. We do have to do a turn. We have to. We're gonna have to do a basically a 180 after we come in on the approach. This airport, if it's true to life, is like nothing. Like there's nothing. I mean, there's tons of resorts here, but I can't find a whole lot of anything like at the airport. It looks like the airport's not very well kept. So I would really like to see the real airport.
Air Flight 1060, a Boeing 737, with service from Key West to St. Petersburg. I'm Lisa, your lead flight attendant, and I'm delighted to introduce our captain, Steve Good, and our first officer, Brian Song. Joining me in the cabin today are my fellow crew members, Emily, Jake, and Sarah. We're here to ensure you have a comfortable and safe journey with us today. Our flight time is expected to be approximately 55 minutes, cruising at an altitude of 28,000 feet. The weather in St. Petersburg is currently 21 degrees Celsius, with solid overcast skies, but no precipitation. Now, I'd like to take a moment
671 Golf Sierra, continue taxi on taxiway Alpha, hold short of runway 22.
fasten your seatbelt,
Continuing on Alpha, holding short of runway 22, Gulfstream 671 Golf.
Last thing we do, we're going to place it in park. We're going to double check our runway.
seatbelt fastened at all times while seated. In the unlikely event of a loss
And
of cabin
27.
oxygen masks will drop from the panel above your seat. Pull the mask towards you to start the flow of
Brian,
oxygen. Place it over
when
your
Lisa's
belly
done, would you please get our takeoff clearance?
Please ensure your own mask is secure before assisting others. Your life vest is located under your seat. In case of a water landing, remove the vest from its container and pull it over your head. Fasten the straps around your waist and pull to tighten. Inflate the vest by pulling down on the red tabs or by blowing into the tubes. The vest should only be inflated as you leave the aircraft. There are 8 emergency exits on this aircraft. 2 doors at the front, 4 overwing exits.
Last thing we'll do before we leave is we're putting 354
Keeping in mind that it
in
may
our
be
heading
in the event
bug.
of emergency, floor level lighting will guide you to the exits. Thank you for your attention, and we hope you have a pleasant flight with us today.
I'll get our takeoff clearance once we're holding short of the runway.
Brian, we're holding short of runway 27. Would you please get our takeoff clearance?
I'll get our takeoff clearance now.
Key West Tower, Allegiant 1060, holding short of runway 27, ready for takeoff.
Allegiant 1060, Key West Tower, runway 27, winds 205 at 7, RNAV SCAR cleared for takeoff.
Runway 27, RNAV SCAR cleared for takeoff, Allegiant 1060.
I'm not sure why Brian thought we weren't holding short already on the runway. Oh no. They do that sometime. Right. Right now our flaps are already set for 1.5. We are on a much shorter runway here. We've got to get off the ground and go quick. So that's one thing to factor in. I'm just double checking the chart for runway length. This runway, by the way, is less than 6,000 feet. In fact, the longest runway is 5,000. So there's no room. There's no room for error. You want to make sure your flaps, everything is set just like you need them, because you're not gonna have any time to. The time to abort or to reject the takeoff, very small, very small. In fact, the window to do that. Okay. Right. Let's bring up our heads up display then. Love this tool. Right. All right, we ready? The minute we take off, we're going to a heading of 354. I will, as soon as I get above 1,000 feet, I will make sure VNAV, both VNAV and LNAV are active, and I will go to Command A for autopilot. All right. Toga. Let's let the engines come up a little bit. All right. I'm having to give it a little bit of right rudder. It's coming up fast. Come on.
V1, rotate. +3.
Does it get any closer than that? I did not like that. Five flaps. Flaps are fully retracted. LNAV is active, and we're going to get above 1,000.
1060, contact departure on 124.025.
Switching to departure on 124.025, Allegiant 1060.
And autopilot.
Navy Key West departure, Allegiant 1060. Good afternoon, passing 500 on the climb.
Allegiant 1060, Navy Key West departure, radar contact. Cleared direct SCAR. Climb and maintain flight level 200.
Cleared direct SCAR. Climb and maintain flight level 200. Allegiant 1060.
All right, that's where we're heading now, to SCAR. check our barometric pressure. Whew. One thing I would say is we're not climbing on a high as fast of a rate as say that we were in the Philippines. It's a little bit slower. Right. Let's go ahead and turn anti-skid off, turn landing gear off. Lights and everything are set correctly, or cabin lighting.
Skyhawk 7774 Juliet Navy Key West approach. Transition through the Key West Nest Delta is approved. Remain this frequency. Allegiant 1060. Climb and maintain flight level 270.
Runway lights off.
Flight level 270. Allegiant 1060.
Logo lights off. Wing light off and wheel well light off. Putting seatbelts on auto.
Safety, please make certain all your personal belongings are free and clear the aisle. You may now use all approved personal electronic devices. We'll be serving a variety of complimentary drinks as well as select beer and wine. In addition, there are other alcoholic beverages for purchase. And we'd like you to sit back, relax, and enjoy our service on tonight's flight. If there's anything we can do to make them enjoyable, please don't hesitate to call upon us. Thank you.
I always like the window seat. By the way, I don't like I don't like being in the seat beside the window. True story. I had a friend one time flying out of Dallas on a Metro flight. I don't even know if Metro flights still exist. And he was military. I was military too. Coming out of Dallas. I've been out of Dallas before to go to Oklahoma. And he looks over. He's got the window seat. He looks out his window and he hears this pow, and the prop on this top wing Metro flight airline was flamed. You saw the fire, a little bit of fire, and then it comes to a stop. And the guy next to him had been so nervous on the flight the whole time. Says, "What was that?" Mike just looked at him and said, "Nothing." And pulled down his shade. He's like, "If you're gonna go, you gotta go." I'm going to go ahead. The couple things I'm doing preemptively, I'm setting my anti-skid on 2. That will be for landing. I will now go to my departure and arrival, and we're coming in on runway 18. We're set up for runway 18.
1060, climb and maintain flight level 280.
We're going to go ahead and load the 18 approach. Make sure we won't have any discontinuities, and we do.
Flight level 280, Allegiant 1060.
Okay, that's loaded. Then we're going to go to our NetRef page. You see here our setup for ILS at runway 18. 109.10 is our frequency, and it says here our VREF is at 15 flaps at current gross weight. What it would be, we're going to wait until that weight comes down just a little bit. It's not going to come down much before I set that. 109.10 though. 109. Look at that. It's already set. Okay. Because the last place we flew out of was St. Petersburg. So that means that when we took it off of that setting, it was already, well, it didn't have to because we were on a RNAV runway. Let's go ahead and make sure our STD is set. Okay. So, yeah, but this number here, for the distance we're going, it's not going to change very much. And in any case, we're going to be at flaps 40 for landing, regardless of what changes. Okay. Let's go ahead and check our descent information. The descent forecast, we're going to request the winds. Our pilot monitoring is making sure that we're not doing anything stupid. He'd normally be doing this, or that we look okay. So here, right, so that added our descent winds, and then we're going to check.
Allegiant 1060, contact Miami Center on 132.2.
Contacting Miami Center on 132.2. Allegiant 1060.
St. Petersburg altimeter is 2984. So we're going to go ahead and put in 29.84.
Center, Allegiant 1060, good afternoon. We're climbing through flight level 210 up to flight level 280.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and make sure that our altimeters are set.
Descending to flight level 200, Spirit 891. Contact the Key West, will departure 12445. November 10340.
Point of note, and by the way, none of what I do is to be construed as actual airplane, like flight training. You would normally wait till you're top of descent or close, I guess, to put in your altimeter settings. Because my common sense says it shouldn't matter since you're climbing. All it will do is throw off your altitude a little bit. If you're higher up, I guess it could throw off your altitude a hair for how high you really are. But I think it's more important when you think about it. It's more important when you're closer to the ground what your altimeter is, to know how far you are from the ground. So that's my common sense thought. Just call it whatever you want, Goodism. Won't get you anything, won't even get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks, but it makes sense. I mean, it's kind of common sense. Okay, I haven't been keeping up with the heading bug, but it looks like my heading bug is kind of set. It's about to change again, but I'll put it back. Okay. And I don't really need you right now. That was kind of cool shot. So what do we need to know about runway 18? What is important for us to know?
Thousand to go.
So we're going to be capturing, let's say, so when we begin our glide down, it's KPIE. KPIE's, wow, it's 1500 for KPIE, 1500. Well, that's 1700 there, but 1500.
Allegiant 1060, Miami Center, expect the Bluff Ridge 3 arrival.
Prepare to descend in roughly 5 minutes. Just say the word if you'd like to start down earlier.
Expecting the Bluff Ridge 3 arrival. Ready to descend in about 5 minutes. We'll advise if we need to start down earlier. Allegiant 1060.
By the way, I called it Bullfrog. Yeah, I did. Bullfrog. I'm good with what we have to do to be able to descend. Right now I'm on VNAV. Our altimeter says 28,000, and we need to go ahead and set it for descending. It has to be a lower altitude or it won't work. But I'm looking at where my descent numbers, let's see here. So I'm going to put it on 4,000 for aux size, so 4,000. And I'll just leave it there. That will help. That'll let us go ahead and descend. Brian, get our descent clearance. We're ready to descend.
Requesting descent clearance now.
Allegiant 1060 requesting clearance to start our descent on the Bluff Ridge 3 arrival.
Allegiant 1060, cleared Bluff Ridge 3, arrival into St. Pete when you're ready. Descend and maintain flight level 200.
Cleared Bluff Ridge 3, arrival into St. Pete. Descend and maintain flight level 200 when ready. Allegiant
All right.
1060.
I just hit level change, and now as I begin my descent, I'm going to go ahead and hit VNAV and let it do its thing. It'll show the vertical deviation here, as obviously we started descending earlier, and I don't care.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our descent into St. Petersburg, we kindly ask that you return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts. Please ensure that your tray tables are stowed and the seat backs are in the upright position. At this time, the use of the lavatory...
446 Sierra Papa, remain outside Bravo airspace contact approach on 123.45. Remaining outside Bravo, switching to 123.45, Cirrus 446 Sierra Papa.
He's calling it Blue Ridge. I call it, it looked to me like it was, doesn't it, it looks like Bullfrog, doesn't it to you? Bullfrog? He says Blue Ridge, whatever. Right, our altimeter settings are already factored in. Our frequency settings are already in. Our anti-skid settings already set. Right. And while we're at the beginning of the descent, I'm getting my coffee. Brian, you got the comm. The airplane's yours. Let's talk about pilot complacency for a minute. If a pilot was constantly on this Petersburg to Key West flight all the time, back and forth, it'd probably be easy to get kind of complacent because the flight is so short. It would be really easy just to kind of take some things for granted. But it does. I'm seeing it takes a lot of discipline to kind of stick to the script, pay attention. For recording purposes on OBS, I I've been recording on 60 FPS, and I cut it back to 30 FPS, and I already can see a good difference. Like I said, it's not dropping anything. It's a lot smoother. But I think I'm gonna stick to it. In case y'all are wondering, by the way, on the cockpit cam, I have an MCP in front of me. That's the 737 MCP. I love it. I love it. It's made by Cockpit Simulations. It is wasn't a cheap purchase, but if you want to look into them, go to Amazon or somewhere, and you can watch some videos on them. But they really, you can't say enough about them. There's no difference in what you see and what you see on the actual 737, and it spoiled. The only problem I've had with it is the altitude dial is beginning to like skip a little bit, but under warranty I don't see a problem with that. It's just I don't know if that's a wear and tear thing, whatever the case is. And sometimes I'll go to and just with a mouse I will adjust the altitude instead to make sure it's precise. But that's the only like quirk about the panel, but I love it to be able to have it right in front of me. I really like it. Something else I use is the radio. I have my radio that I picked up, and that's been a nice addition. That really has been. Now, how it works though with Brian, my co-pilot, when Say Intentions is handling the comms, he changes all of the frequencies as he dials it in to call them. I don't ever have to touch it. He does that, and that he kind of spoils me with that. But I never that way I don't have to constantly worry about dial in the frequency. Brian's going to do that as a part of the Say Intentions as my co-pilot in pilot monitoring. Right, we're at 2210 right now. When we get to oxize, that's where we'll jump to, I want to say, let me see what waypoint we'll go to. They'll vector us when we get to oxize, but I think they'll take us to Zeppum. I'll show you what that looks like. We are here. We're going to come up, we're approaching Farrell now, Blue Ridge, Kosar, Oxize. When we get to Oxize, you see there's a big space in between. On our flight plan, it has vector there. So at Oxize, to get to the approach, they'll do the footwork to get us there by giving us a heading, and I'll have to abide by that heading, and they'll take us to Zeppum. They'll just tell us what heading to get to Zeppum, which we'll go from here to Zeppum, and then we'll set up for our approach to KPIE, to St. Petersburg. and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay? So anyway, in the meantime, I'm going to have this up over here. I'm going to go ahead and just, on my right screen, when time comes, we'll know. We are only 91 miles, 90 miles from the airport now. I'll let my coffee get cold. Oh. Let's get back and check on the passengers. There are a lot of details that I'm leaving out of what I'm telling you, but if you want details, you need to go to some of my friends like Q8, the Q8 channel, and to get more the more detail in between.
Allegiant 1060, contact Tampa, approach on 125.3.
Switching to Tampa, approach on 125.3. Allegiant 1060. afternoon, descending past 15,000.
Allegiant 1060 Tampa approach. Good afternoon, St. Pete altimeter. 29.84. Expect the ILS runway 18 approach into St. Pete.
Altimeter 2984, expecting ILS runway 18 approach. Allegiant 1060.
Allegiant 1060, contact Miami, approach on 118.1.
Switching to Miami approach on 118.1. Allegiant 1060. Miami approach, Allegiant 1060. Good afternoon. We're descending through 14,000 feet.
Allegiant 1060, Miami approach. Good afternoon, St. Pete altimeter 29.84.
Delta 1221, descend and maintain 2,000.
Delta 1221, descending to 2,000.
All right, descent looks good right now. If you notice here with the upside down smiley face, I call it, it is about where it needs to be for us, because remember, we still have to turn around once we're close to the airport. We'll actually pass the airport and have to turn around to come back. So it looks like we're in great shape there, like on our descent. We can also see that right here. Oh, we're so far ahead on our descent right now. We're good. We're great. And then we've got a hard stop there, 4,000 or above. So hard stop on at Oxize before we continue descending. So we're good there. This is our landing altitude is already set, which I set it at 0. We're at like 26 feet is mean sea level. We have a few more waypoints, by the way, before they vector us. So, if you want to see what that looks like, there's no reason you can't see this. Here we go. So here we are. We're gonna, I think we're gonna come to Kosar, D-side, Oxize. I think Kosar and Oxize may be the only ones on the flight plan. Once we hit Oxize, you're going to hear them vector us. They're going to give us a heading, and they're going to give us a heading that'll take us to Zeppum. And then that's where we'll turn around to come back to KPIE.
Have a great day.
I don't think I'm oversimplifying that. It's pretty direct. Let's go ahead. I'm going to leave that over here. You see where I forgot before we took off? What I did not do, the last step I always do, is activate my clock, my captain's clock there, and I did not do it. I did not do it. I think I was a little preoccupied with a 5,000 foot runway. Things I will do different the next time I fly into KPIE. By the way, we're approaching time for landing lights. Let's go and get those going. Right, we're lit up like a Christmas tree right now.
Captain, cabin is ready. Ladies and gentlemen, as we make our final approach into St. Petersburg, we kindly ask
I was okay, so next time I take off from Key West, I will take off at least 25 flap setting. 25 flaps. And get a little bit more lift coming off the runway to get off the ground faster. Because that was a little close. Did you see those trees at the end of the runway? I don't know. I'd like to know. There's a couple of things I'd like to know about the actual Key West runway that maybe I don't know. But you need to be off that runway a lot faster. So I'm presuming that a 737 is probably, or an Airbus 321 would be the largest plane that could come in and out of there. That's the peak, the max, but I can't see any larger planes being able to come out of there. If you notice, our visibility is awful. Yeah, it is awful.
Air Canada 235, hold at waypoint brakes. Expect further clearance in 10 minutes.
Right, so all of our landing lights are active. Wing lights, we're just lit up.
1060, Miami approach. Contact Tampa. Approach on 118.15.
Switching to Tampa approach on 118.15. Allegiant 1060.
We're going to stay at. We're going to have this view for a while. Probably it wouldn't do any good to look outside anyway. You can't see anything.
Tampa approach Allegiant 1060. Afternoon descending past 8,000.
Allegiant 1060, Tampa approach. Good afternoon, St. Pete. Altimeter 29.84.
Did he say altimeter? I should have paid attention there. Allegiant 1060, request altimeter.
Allegiant 1060, Wimauma altimeter 29.84.
Okay. Thought that's what he said. At first I thought he said 94. It's like, oh no, whoa. It's not what the information says. I hate I didn't start that clock this time. This is in particular probably a good illustration of about how far it is, how long it takes. All right, we are awaiting. Are we awaiting a vector right now? We're not waiting for the vector. We're going ahead and going to zip them. They did not get that. They didn't give us a vector. Did you notice that? They did not give us one. No, they didn't. Which is okay. I mean, I didn't have to have that vector because I'm going to Zeppelin anyway.
Cleared the visual 27. Cleared for the visual 27, United 1244.
Going right heading 230, GPM for 70 Echo Sierra. GPM for 70 Echo Sierra. Descend and maintain 2500 feet to left heading 210.
I'm really hoping he doesn't give me a vector because I'm good. I'm good. it looks like we have a hard, like at Zeppelin, at or above 2600 is kind of mandatory. We're also going to, at this point, flaps 1. We're ready for flaps 1. So we're at flaps 1. I'm going to go ahead and move that back out of the way because I need the heads up view.
1,000 to go.
And it's going to leave us at or above 22,600 is our altitude, which is fine. We're good.
Southwest 521, contact tower 118.3.
Switching to 118.3, Southwest 521.
We have our anti-skid is set to 2. We're currently at flaps 1 for now. Frequencies are set for our approach. We're currently heading to the Zibo waypoint where we'll make like a 180. We'll come out and do basically almost a 180 turn and take us to our approach heading. The airport's going to be out to our somewhere around here. I can't say that I see it yet, but it's there. We're almost like going straight toward it. Should be. Is that it? There it is. Okay. That's a whole lot more airport than what it feels like when you're landing. That's it. Definitely, we're coming. That's where we'll be coming in right there. We are currently at 193.
Right to 070 vectors for the GPS.
Right to 070 vectors for the GPS 235 Charlie, Quebec.
That's heading 150, descend 2,500.
I am getting ready to go to flaps 5.
Citation 29 Foxtrot.
Very comfortable. I think I'm very comfortable to do that. So.
Citation 29 Foxtrot, turn left heading 165.
November 8, 61.
Right, we're at flaps 5.
Approaches into Lakeland, Winder, Kilo, Lima, Alpha, Lima.
Another reference point for flaps right there. It says flaps 5. feeling very stable right now. It's good to be stable. But yeah, it feels good. I am curious why it never gave us the vector. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious why it didn't. I don't know if there's something I needed to do to make it start, or like to trigger it, but that was kind of peculiar because I think usually it always gives me a vector. If it says vector on the flight plan, it gives me that vector. So not sure what happened there.
Cessna 714 Lima, cleared for the visual on 8 left, maintain 9 or 0 knots.
Clear visual 8 left 9 or 0 knots, 714 Lima.
Contact tower on 19.5, American 452.
Southwest 2215 Tampa, approach speed 210 knots.
Going to 210, Southwest 2215.
It's got us doing our turn. Okay, making sure we're turning it at 25 degrees. And we're to 15 flaps.
Allegiant 1060, contact St. Pete Tower on 118.3.
Switching to St. Pete Tower on 118.3, Allegiant 1060. St. Pete Tower, Allegiant 1060, good afternoon. We're established on the ILS approach for runway 18.
Allegiant 1060, St. Pete Tower, winds 240 at 11, runway 18, cleared to land.
Diamond Tree 71 Bravo Charlie, make a right turn, heading 180 traffic at your 9 o'clock.
It's taking us back to the KPIE waypoint. That's where we align or get set up with the runway.
71 Bravo Charlie.
Runway 18, clear to land. Allegiant 1060.
Gear down. Our VREF is 40 at 144. 40 at 144. currently at. We're at a heading of 14140, but that's about to turn back. One setting that I almost did not get changed in time was that my flight directors were not set for 180. See if I can recover from this. Think what I did wrong. So far what I've done wrong is my flight directors were not set correctly. They need to be set for 180. Actually 183 technically.
Extending upwind, awaiting crosswind call, Skyhawk 542 Alpha X-ray.
But we have remedied that. I think we'll be alright.
Exit the Bravo immediately. Advise when ready to copy phone number for possible pilot deviation. November 967 Whiskey. Roger, you are not cleared to enter the Bravo airspace. Remain clear of Bravo airspace.
This has not been the approach I'm taking right now is not what I consider to be very stable. And if I don't feel comfortable with it, what we may do is we may do a go around. We may go back a little bit here. All right.
How's it go?
I initiated basically a kind of a go around, but not directly over the airport. So
Order departure 125.3 Sierra 17. Tampa departure Sierra 17 with you at 1000, Common 4000.
we're going back down to 3,200. We have set a course for 360. We're on what would be considered the downwind to come back and retry our approach. Coming. Coming there.
Skyhawk 505 Alpha Mike, extend downwind, I'll call your base. Extending downwind, awaiting base call. Skyhawk 505 Alpha Mike. 450 Alpha Mike. 6229 Alpha.
Okay. What color? We're parallel right now to the KPIE waypoint. We are at flaps 5 at 174 knots. Seems like if you make a 45-minute flight, you can end up spending 30 minutes just trying to get position to land, if not longer. All right, we're about to. We're just getting up to toward the Z-Pump waypoint. We're about to re-enable LNAV.
Local tower will report midfield for left base entry, Diamond Tree 71 Bravo Charlie.
Thousand to go.
We're now making our turn for approach again. back to flaps 15. Okay, we are set up. We're supposed to be. There we go. Localizer is acquiring runway. There we go. Should that better. And we're going to
Skyhawk 542 Alpha X-ray, cleared for takeoff, runway 21, caution, wake turbulence.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 21, Skyhawk 542 Alpha X-ray.
Reading the Bravo, ready for copy.
forward gear.
Oscar Lima might copy that.
Okay, copy. Lima Mike, request flight follow.
Flaps 25. VREF has 40 flaps at 144. Just remember that. And I'm about to take over throttle.
Diamond Tree 71 Bravo, Charlie traffic is assessed now on a 2-mile final caution, wake turbulence.
Acknowledge, Diamond Tree 71 Bravo, Charlie.
Over to departure, I say St. Big off Bravo, so long.
Citation
We're at
83
flaps
Bravo,
40.
good morning. Vision Jet Zero Whiskey Echo, contact departure on 125.3.
1,000 feet stabilized, Mr. Birch, altitude set.
ground on 121.9er.
The only thing I think I brought the
Allegiant 1060.
nose down a little, like hard, but we'll see. Yes, right there up the nose. Could have come down a little softer with the nose. And let's go back and watch that one more time. I think I can. We're going to do that one more time. Okay. All right. Okay. We hope you learned something from that. I know I always do. Uh, the there's a program I'll if I learn more about how to use it, I will come back and get a review on it. But it's a approach setup program, and I want to see if it can't teach me something about like how to quickly get to an approach and then practice an approach over and over again. So if I'll let you know more about that. I just purchased it recently. Still learning a few things about it, and I'll let you know how it goes. I hope everybody has a good day. Um, keep flying. Keep, as they say at the Delta virtual airlines, keep climbing.